Hey everyone, welcome to the Geo Community Call for August 3rd. So we had an exciting weekend on Friday. We finally got our new infrastructure set up and we did our migration. So thank you for everybody that helped out with that. It was a big push by the team. We've got some new governance contracts that are live. Seems like it was a fairly smooth transition. We just had to update endpoints for the new chain and API. But we were able to get the bots updated and the various scripts and things that people were using. Hopefully, you were all able to do that on your side as well. If you've got any scripts and skills, we were able to update the SDK. So it should be mostly transparent if people are on the latest SDK version. And so smooth work all around. So nice little round of applause to the team for a seamless migration. And that's also going to help us as we gear up for mainnet, where we're going to have to do a similar sort of thing. So it's nice to get the practice under our belt. With that now done, um, we are going to be gearing up a lot more this week on debates, which you guys heard about last week. We gave you a little preview. And this week, we're going to be opening things up further for more curators. Um, we were kind of all hands on deck on the migration, which took a few extra days, as you guys probably saw in the Discord. So this week should be an exciting week for testing things out all around debates. So really excited to get your guys' hands on it and and see how that goes. Should be a lot of fun. But without further ado, I'll pass it over to Dovile for the agenda for today.
Thank you. We have an interesting call as always. Last week, I asked everybody what were the spaces they are participating in. We had a good distribution between all of the spaces that we're hosting. There was a person saying they're looking for a new one. So if it's you, please reach out and let us know what space you'd like to see. And this week, what we're going to talk about is a bit of an update on the product from Preston. We'll run through the leaderboard. We have an exciting interview with CptMoh, who's one of our top contributors. And then we'll have some interesting content highlights, Armando's thoughts on reputation, and some information and overview of claims. So without further ado, Preston, if you'd like to take the stage.
Absolutely. So thank you, Dovile. And as you guys know, we went through the migration process last week. Um, Overall, thank you guys for your patience and help getting through that. I did notice in the bug reports channel, there was a few people that had submitted proposals during the migration process that had some issues. So I'm currently working with one of the backend devs to figure out a solution there. Um, and I will be communicating that in the product updates channel for you guys. The second thing is I can just quickly walk through the new features. I showed them last week as well, but just so you guys remember, when you're submitting a proposal, if it's anything that should get editor review and doesn't need to be fast, then you can submit this as a review path proposal, and that will require multiple editors to review on it, and it will go the full duration of the review path. However, now all members can also submit fast path proposals. So if your proposal is, very likely to get accepted, you've already done the work, had it reviewed, you can use this fast path proposal, and then it just will require one editor to vote on it, and it will be automatically published. So that will really help with the speed of publishing here. And that one editor is actually set by the proposal threshold, which is set in the governance panel of the space. So if you go over to the governance panel, also excuse the layout shift there that I will be pushing a fix for today. But you can see the thresholds as well as the fastpath threshold here. So it's currently set to 0 as it got pulled over from the old space. So that actually needs to be updated. So an editor of the space can come in here and edit space governance. We can see that we need to update the fast path proposal threshold, and then also should update the slow path proposal threshold to 51%. And once I update that, then the universal support threshold will also update to a max or a minimum of that slow path threshold. And what that essentially means is that if this space has 19 editors, for example, if at least 10 of them accept it, a review path proposal can also get accepted automatically. So even if you do push a review path proposal, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to have to wait the full period. If it does get overwhelming support from the editors, it will also push through pretty quickly. So those are the main updates there. Just want to give a quick reminder. I know I presented that last week as well, but since we were able to get through the migration, you can all start using those features now. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out and let me know.
Thank you, Preston. Great reminder, and I'll brush up on the new features. I'm sure people are going to have some questions when they start using it, so please let us know on Discord if you have any. Now on to the leaderboard for last week. Very clear trends. People are very deep in the season 2 bounties. Points wise, it's been a record week. 44 500 points distributed throughout the community. Leaders did take up a lot of that point segment, with Adam leading the pack quite significantly, contributing to AI and crypto via news, fact-checking, and he also had the submission of the week last week. So congrats, Adam, very well done. And we also have Ibrahim, CptMoh, Badurin, CptMoh, and Hasnat contributing as well. Very good to see that people are already starting to work on fact-checking, which is just as important as contributing to the content itself. So grateful to see that, and congratulations to everyone. Very well done this week. And then when it comes to top submissions, we have Badrin Nafisad, CptMoh, Lisa, and Ibrahim contributing again either via news stories or significant blog posts as well as tweets. So when you guys are contributing to these, one thing to note and keep in mind is it's not just about the quantity, it's also about the quality. So please make sure the stories or blogs that you're posting are significant and important and trending to our spaces as well. So thanks to everybody very much for contributions. And today on the curator segment, we have CptMoh, who's been contributing, as we can see, through all of our main spaces quite significantly, and ask CptMoh today to jump on the call and give us a little bit of an interview about his experience on Geo and show his work a little bit. So hi, CptMoh.
Hello, Dovile.
So would you please tell us a bit about yourself and about your background?
All right, thank you. Yeah, my name is CptMoh Sahid. I'm from Nigeria. Yeah, I'm a trained medical doctor and a public health specialist. So I transitioned into blockchain and the crypto space a few years back, about 10 years ago. So currently, I'm the founder of Definomics Web3 Academy, so where I trained new beginners on the concept of blockchain and show them practical approach. Thank you.
Very interesting transition from the medical field to Web3. How did that transition happen, and which one of these do you now consider your main expertise?
Yes, transitioning isn't easy. It's not easy, but I was able to self-learn, then try to understand the concept of blockchain, trying to understand what Web3 is, and at a point I had to subscribe to an online blockchain school, Nicosia University, where I gathered enough knowledge about the concept of blockchain and cryptocurrency. Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool that you guys have those topics in university. So if you have a broad interest in Web3, what specifically brought you to Geo?
Yes, what brought me to Geo, it's been a long journey anyway. Initially, I was a curator on the Graph network, So I've been into graph curator, delegator, then graph advocate at some point. So when I saw Geo, I discovered it offers unique opportunity where I'll be able to contribute to knowledge in a structured and meaningful way. So it's something I wanted to explore. So that was why I joined Geo. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for staying on the journey.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So CptMoh, you have so many contributions on Geo by now. How do you choose what to catalog on Geo?
Yes, my approach is I believe information needs to be relevant and to the Geo protocol, and also information needs to be accurate to the Geo protocol. And to the end users, I believe information needs to be useful and fill the knowledge gap of the end users of those information. So those are my three filters for contributing to the Geo network. Thank you.
Very nice. Great principles for picking which content to publish on Geo. So with saying that, with hearing that and those great principles, would you please show us an entity or a page that you're most proud of? And maybe why do you feel that's the best one?
Well, I've had a lot of contributions, but I'll quickly show the latest one, which is a new space for me, world affair. So I find it interesting. So I will show, let me share my screen. Sorry, share screen. All right. So
I'm not seeing my face that big on the screen.
all right, can you see the screen now?
Yes.
All right, so the most interesting one for me was contributing in the world affairs space. So I created tweet posts about the latest on the Strait of Hormuz blockage, and the entity spans from July 13th, mid-July to the end of July, where I quoted a tweet about the Middle East becoming more volatile. Iran enforces total control over Straits of Hormuz as traffic collapse, and U.S. forces began launching new airstrikes against Iran. Then U.S. forces launched operation for a second wave of strike, and the U.S. president posts on Truth Social. So all these informations were well sourced, and the claims were extracted, and with supporting arguments and opposing arguments. So this is what I just created lately, and I'm proud to share it today.
It looks great. I believe it was one of the top contributions recently, so congrats on that. And it's great to see how quickly you adapted to the new schema of bounties and data as well. So very well done, CptMoh. What do you see as next for you on Geo? What are you looking forward to?
Yes, I'm looking forward to contributing more quality content and helping the community grow, and trying to help new curators joining the Geo ecosystem. So my dream is it's long term, and I wish to continue to contribute high quality content. Thank you.
That's very great to hear that you're also willing to help new people around as well. Are there any tools that you use particularly to contribute to Geo?
Yes, the majorly I use Grok, Cloud, ChatGPT, and so on. So Then particularly of great importance is the Geo AI assistant. So lately I've been using the Geo AI assistant and it's been wonderful and amazing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll relay that feedback to our development team as well. So to end things up, where would you like to see Geo go in the future?
Well, I would like to see Geo become one of the world's most trusted structured knowledge platform. I want to see the community grow, and I want to see better tools that will help contributors to create quality content. And lastly, I also want to see the protocol go to mainnet. So that's my wish for Geo.
Thank you very much, Jamal. We're looking forward to see where the Geo journey takes you as well. And thank you very much for all the contributions that you made.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for jumping on the call as well and sharing your experience.
All right.
And on that happy note, we'll start moving to the rest of the content that our curators contributed with the help of our editor team. So let's start with Cătălin. What's going on in the AI space lately?
Lots of interesting stuff. Let me share my screen. So, first thing I'd like to congratulate our curator of the week, Badudina Fisat, for her work on gathering tweets for big AI projects like Anthropic, OpenAI, XAI, Google, and other important labs. And also some tweets about open source AI. For example, we have Jensen Huang tweets. Then we can take a look at the front page of the AI space. And personally, I kind of like the new minimalist style, but I have some feedback. I find a bit confused. I find the upvotes and the ranking to be a bit confusing. Which one is more important for an entity? To have a high ranking or a lot of upvotes?
Yeah, one thing I can just share on that now is so we're actually going to be switching how this looks. So I understand the confusion. So what we really want to have like on this page is something that's like a confidence score for these claims. That for now is going to be essentially a percentage of like agree versus disagree. But once we introduce reputation, that can be reputation weighted. So you'd want to see something like, 87% on a certain claim, or maybe, 6% on a certain claim that it has low confidence. And that is different from visibility, right? You could imagine that there's a claim that a lot of people disagree with, but it's very controversial. And so you'd want it to have high visibility, but a low confidence score. So those are really two different things. The visibility would kind of be the ranking here of what shows up, but these could vary widely in their confidence. So I think right now it's confusing because, you're seeing these integers on the right. And so that's going to be changing to basically a percentage. And then the ranking is what affects basically the visibility.
And I also noticed that sometimes we have topics or claims that are not really trending, appearing on the front page. How we can avoid that in the
Topics
future?
or claims that are what?
Not really trending, appear on the front page.
So
Well,
the way that
somebody added it, no?
Yeah, the way that we would avoid that is we need to encourage more participation in these rankings.
Mhm.
Right now, it's only you and I have voted on the trending claims, and so one of the goals as we move into this next phase of the curator season is we're going to have daily tasks, and there's going to be a checkbox on the right, which is to complete these two rankings and submit a news story. And if we can encourage more of our curators and more of our users to submit these topics and claims, then we can ensure that they will be more representative of what is trending. Because right now, if one person adds something, it'll show up there. as a highly ranked thing.
Okay. Then we organized claims about, give me a sec, about pasting the front-end letter, which is a topic. We have claims about what the letter says, which are kind of more like general claims about the letter. Then we have claims about who signed and who endorsed the letter. For example, we can see that Sam Altman didn't sign the letter, but he kinda endorsed it in a podcast. Sorry.
Good work.
Then we have claims that kind of offer some context about this whole letter. We have some claims about the automatic AI research and a consistent improvement. Then we have some claims about the Hugging Face bridge, which offers some context of my opinion too. Then we have some claims about the government and policy response around the letter. Then we have industry exploration about the letter. Zuckerberg wrote an interesting blog post about related to the letter. And then we have claim of the week in the AI space, which is AI development should be slowed to ensure that humanity can safely adapt to increasingly capable AI systems. And here we have the overview with supporting and opposing arguments. Then we have supporters and opponents of this claim. And we have supporting projects, Anthropic and OpenAI. Then we have supporting people and opposing people. For now, I couldn't find any opposing project, but maybe they are. And if we go to an opposing person or project, here we can see some claims about why that person is opposing or supporting this claim. Then we have sources categorized by topics. And then we have related claims about also organized by topics. And then we'll probably show them later. We have AI debate claims, but Data Turas will show this later.
Thank you, Cătălin. Very interesting content. Definitely gonna be perusing it after the call.
Thank you, Dovile.
Thanks, Cătălin. Next up, CptMoh with update on crypto space.
All right. So over in the crypto space, this past week, Cătălin and I were testing out the debate app, and we hopped on a debate on whether Bitcoin should freeze the coins that are vulnerable to quantum computer hacks. We made arguments and opposing arguments inside of the debate, and then I tried to capture all of it inside Geo on the claim page. So I added the opposed by property and supported by property. If we take a look into Cătălin's relationship with the claim, so he's supporting the freeze of coins, and we have the notable quotes which were made in the debate, which we are getting from a transcript of the debate. So this is a transcript entity of the debate, and then it has a transcript of the full rundown of the debate. So we got the quotes in here, and that's what we are also using to create some of the claims up here. So of course we added also sources, the community, and the related claims to the claim. So That's one thing we did. And then we also worked on Diamond.io. So last week, Vitalik published a detailed walkthrough of Diamond.io, and I thought it would be really nice to have it on Geo as an explainer of what it is. There was a lot of fuss on it, around it on Twitter, so we brought it in. This is what it is. It's an indistinguishability obfuscation that lets anyone run an encrypted program without learning how it works. This is where it matters for crypto. This is where it stands. And then we also have tabs on how it works, who's behind it. So these are more technical claims around how the technology works under the hood. These are the people behind it and the projects behind it. And then for folks that want to learn more about it, we imported posts and articles for further reading. Yeah, this is the post type, and then this is some further reading. And then CptMoh Sahid from earlier has also made good submissions in the crypto space. So this is one of such. This is what we are looking for. So not just publishing the news stories, but CptMoh Sahid took it a step further and created a page where he's showcasing the news stories that he published last week. So there's a curated collection of crypto news stories from July, covering Ethereum's 11th anniversary, and so on. And these are the news stories. All right. Thank you, Dovile.
Thank you, CptMoh. So people can become really subject matter experts on some of these topics nowadays if they take a look at what we have going quite a couple of layers in. Very, very nice. Ahmed with World Affairs. Hi there.
Hey, how is everyone?
Very well, thank you.
All good.
For this week, we had several things that were going on with the space. We had a community call, we had a debate on it, and it was one of the hottest calls. But like always, the agenda is not what everyone is discussing exactly. So the outcome was different a little bit. It was on this one. Like we were planning to discuss like 4 or 5 topics, but we focused on this, and we were discussing about the position of Hamas from Israel and about the new charter and what changed and what didn't, and the position of the political leaders and like Khalid Mishal, what he stated. And we were discussing also about the sources. Other sources are like we can take them as good sources or not. Can they be reliable or not? So it was a very heat debate last time, and the call was extremely heat. I hope that more people will join us next time this week on Wednesday, as we are continuing on Israel-Palestine conflict still. So I hope more people can join us. And for this week, we had the curator of the week is Ibrahim Hassan, and his submission of the week was the blog post about the main topics, the active main topics of world affairs. Like, indeed, that he's submitting a very solid content, a very solid blog post, and he's providing a good description. Like, the work is really good. We have some piece of art, but at the same time, I want to say that we have not like accepted everything. it was not about the quantity, it was about the quality. I have given the feedback on Discord for the other curators also to check it and know why we didn't accept everything. Like sometimes some of the reports were speculative, some of the reports were about market weekly updates. So it was not fit for the world affairs space. So I hope that the other curators can please check the review, the feedback, so they don't get into the same issues again. And this was for this week. And I hope that for next week we would have much more things to share with you.
Thanks, Ahmed, for the presentation and for the tips. And sounds like World Affairs Call is the place to be. So definitely looking forward to what's going on this week on your call.
Yeah. I hope that week more curators can join us. Last week, I apologize for the curators that they didn't make it because they were not members of the space. Please apply, join the space before you try to join the calls.
Great shout out. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Dan, what's up with US politics and health?
Hey everyone, and happy to share some updates. Kick it off with a debate that we had last week regarding compounded peptides. And the reason we chose this topic, it's been getting a bit of news, and we recently published a story regarding regulation from the FDA on compounded peptides and BPC 157. And the conversation was really interesting. It was great to have health professionals participating in the conversation. It was good for perspective. And for the main claim that we discussed, we have our main supporting and opposing claims laid out. And then we also have supporting claims, and then we can go into any of the supporting claims. And then there are additional supporting and opposing arguments. And same framework for opposing claims. And then we have our sources laid out. And we'll be working on capturing sides from individuals that participate in the community calls and including that along with the claim, as that's valuable as well. And additionally, we've been having really good content coming in for news stories, and would like to highlight Lisa, who's been submitting great news stories for both health and US politics. So we'll take a look at a couple of the more interesting stories from the past week. And this one, where the FDA approved the first freeze-dried plasma product. And we can scroll down and see the different claims that were extracted from the story. And here we have national blood supply crisis. Good to have on people's radar, and interesting to see the solutions that are being developed. Take a look at another health story that was published. This is 600 million was distributed for global vaccine program. And yeah, interesting to see these developments. Hopefully there's positive that comes out of the funding. And then we'll switch over to US politics. An interesting story where the Department of Justice released Biden ghostwriter recordings. Be interesting to see the development of this story as it has more comes out. And one more US politics story. Voter rights and mail-in voting's been getting a lot of attention in the US. And the Trump administration had asked the Supreme Court to restore mail voting restrictions. So both sides it's a bit polarizing on that topic. So interested to watch this develop and see where we land. So those are this week's updates for health and US politics.
Wow, Dan, how will you choose what to debate? Everything's so interesting.
Lots happening.
Thanks. So that's it for content generated by our curators. Thanks everybody again for the contributions. And now Armando will share some thoughts on reputation systems. Armando, floor is yours.
Okay, hello everybody. So last week, Yaniv, you mentioned that the wealth of a founder create proposal could be an interesting property for establishing reputation. I've been interested in building a reputation system for people and projects for a long time. I first explored some solution more than 1.5 years ago when I was working on news publisher reputation. I work on rating systems that we can come back a bit later. The thing is that I would like to propose a framework built around 3 axes, which are contribution, conduct, and perception. Contribution covering the value created for others, conduct covering how person or project behaves, and perception how they are viewed by the public, the media, or the peers. We could speak about the 4 axis transparency, but for now, I believe it's part of contribution, of conduct. The most important part of the proposal would not be the framework, but the method we could use to build it. The idea would be to start with some potential criterion, draft them in the form of a claim, to debate these claims, to vote on these claims, and then later to establish types and property from this criterion. Okay. I am also thinking about something related to what you were speaking about the claim, of how we can weight the confidence and the integrity for these claims with a gross value, which is a figure we will have source, what we will observe, the follower count, the donation, something which is an evidence. Then we will have an integrity adjustment, which will remove the subside, the bot, the foundation, which are controlled for tax optimization and so on. We will establish a confidence grade, and we will relate this to the source. The thing I start proposing some criteria for people, for projects. I can share this little website I've made for you to navigate through it after the call. Where I am starting to propose some criteria, and I also work on some source to be able to fit this criteria. As we saw last week, I've been working on SEC, Edgar files to be able to track the sale and the movement of the shell from shareholders. I am proposing to extend the universe of source to open secret, to public bunch of source, and to run research agents. As I was telling you, the weighting is where the important debate could happen. Sorry. I'm looking to my speech. This matter because factor do not tell us how much the reputation should be affected. We can see, for example, we have the case of Elon Musk. In an interview last week, he was defending that because he had 200 million of followers, his support from public was superior to the support for media. But if we are doing some research, we can see that Elon Musk was owning 70 million followers before he had acquired X. And after the purchase, it's jumped to 25 million followers. We can see also that more than 54% of Americans are holding up an favorable opinion of him. And only 28% trust the media, not the 15 he advanced. So we can start thinking that we could weight followers of somebody to differentiate what are the people who are following and supporting the people person. I start crafting claims to prepare the debate around the criterion, the rating. You can see I have write about claims about contribution, philanthropy, justice, perception, and so. The idea would be to transform after we agree on the criteria, this criteria into property, as I've done with shareholding property last week. It could look something like this when it will be done. We will have all the criteria for the people, and then we will have the balance about either the record only, the impact, or the integrity. Same will work for project. We could try to work on this criteria for projects. For news publisher, as I was telling you, I went back to the first rating system I established while ago, and I am trying to add more scores, more property for bias in order to be able to balance this bias. This was the original rating system, and the next one should look like this. I've made some tests on the New York Times and on Reuters, and it could look like this whenever it will be finished. Thank you, Dovile. I will share the presentation for you to drill down into the details after the call.
Super interesting. Oh, yes, I'm on. Great work. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into it and share some feedback. Looks like you've thought a lot about this, as have, probably a few people here working on the protocol. But really great perspective, some original ideas for sure. So excited to dive into it. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Preston, you wanted to add something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I also love the data sources you're using. I think getting SEC Edgar data onto Geo would be a great thing. And this would be a great reason to do those sort of things. So, picking high quality data to back up, that sort of metric is a great thing. So props on that.
Yeah, and it's such a fascinating topic and question because you start to see the subjectivity of some of this stuff, and I think it's going to be interesting to try to find like objective metrics that we can use and processes and really see how to kind of filter that through. But it's I think going to be a lot easier to have those types of discussions with some strong starting points. So I love that we already have some claims organized there. Could be great topics for debates for sure.
Thanks, Armando, for sharing.
Dovile, not sure how much more we have on the agenda, but I did have one question that I'd love to pose the group. Do we know if we have time for that?
Arturas, are you okay with giving the stage to Yaniv?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the claims review, we can have it as long as we have like a few examples, so we can definitely go ahead and add additional things here.
Okay, great. Yeah, it might also set the stage as you're going through. Maybe we can speak to this a little bit. But one of the things I'd love for us to discuss more, and maybe we could have somebody give a presentation the way Armando just did, is on the process that we use for fact checking. So I know at the beginning of the call, we were saying that a few people were starting to focus on fact checking. And I think that's a really interesting element of what we're doing here, right? And we've kind of shared about it, adding context and doing fact checking and doing that in a distributed manner by the community. And I don't know that we've really spent much time talking about the processes that we're using to do that. What does quality fact checking look like? Is there kind of, a process that we should be using? So, would love to either hear from people who've started doing that, kind of what their process is. Maybe somebody can, do a presentation, maybe on the state of the art, how different organizations do it. Just going to throw it out to the group as something that I think would be interesting for us to spend more time on.
Wow, awesome idea. I'll try to gather some folks who've done it and then see who we can have on the next call about it. Definitely gonna be interesting to see.
Fact checkers usually.
Does anyone have like initial thoughts on that before maybe we hand it to Arturas, and maybe we can look at some of the claims with that question in mind?
I do have a quick thought on the fact checking. Like usually the way that fact checking works, so there is a established news media, and the fact checkers usually sort of defer to that. So basically, there's like this article on this reputable news media that everyone knows said otherwise. Like they did an interview, or like they did the ground reporting and they said otherwise, or they confirmed. I think that actually sources and fact checking is a very interesting thing for Geo specifically, and I think it's like actually a huge part of what it means to agree on truth. I would say that at least for factual statements, the sources of the space is a defining character, like it's a defining feature of the space itself, and every space should spend a lot of time on the sources page, ranking and organizing and just removing any source. If we as a community, like members of the space, disagree that this source is a valid source, we just shouldn't have that. And if we agree as a community that is a valid source, we should have that in. And so now when we have the claims in the community, right, there's like a bunch of different claims and they are opposing each other or supporting each other. So if a conversation is happening between the members of the community, of the same community, so then we actually do have a shared list of sources that we agreed on. So now the question is, do those sources support the claim that we're making? And that is by definition a valid, like by our community standards, it's a valid citation. Therefore, the claim gets credibility points. And so basically, the first battle of like for the community people amongst themselves to agree on what's true is the battle of the sources. If you can win that battle, then you'll have a much better time convincing others of the claims that you agree or disagree with.
Right. Now, I think one of the things that we want to actually encourage is, decentralizing information sources, right? And so that would go hand in hand with things like citizen journalism, right? And the fact that, there are primary sources that are not at these, large news outlets. Now, presumably at some point these things can get covered by the news outlets. But I guess it would be an interesting thing for us to see if adding, reputation to individuals as well as organizations like Armando was just showing, if that gives us a way to also, weight sources that are basically individuals. So it seems like, I mean, the biggest thing when we're doing fact checking, it's really all about adding sources and maybe as many sources as possible and then curating those sources, right? So I guess that's really what the work is. And then maybe we then also tackle the reputation side for how to weight the claims by various sources. So yeah, good starting point to the conversation, and would love to see us touch on this a little bit more, and really track, our confidence in our ability to do that. Maybe we actually want to maintain, a process document or something that people can follow with best practices. So good area to focus on. But awesome. Yeah, thanks for discussing. And Arturas, I think we still have a few minutes.
Okay. So the topic here is the art of crafting claims. So a while back, I wrote a few claims on Iran war, like different versions, got Yaniv's thoughts on the style, got them confirmed, shared that with the editors, and asked sort of to expand that style of claims throughout the spaces. So after a few iterations, also Armando got involved. He helped curators to editors to like write up the claims as well. And we got a first batch of debate claims that we want to start sort of grouping curators around to start debating these. So the general guidelines were keep them high level, and we will be able to drill deeper over time. And they should kind of represent the actual claims positions that are being held by people in that space. So it's a menu, right? And sort of we browse that menu and we sort of see the claims that we would want to defend or attack. So in the crypto space, Bitcoin is better store of value than gold. Okay, I would say like a good claim. Like I'd see that some people wanting to debate that in the crypto space. Bitcoin's volatility disqualifies it as a serious asset. Okay, like that's a debatable claim. Ethereum Foundation is weakening Ethereum development, a strong claim, and it's a good to have a debate around that. Ethereum roadmap is heading in the wrong direction. Yeah, so these are like actual things that we as a community should kind of work out. And as we're looking at this, if you have any notes on like if any claim seems maybe could be improved or something is missing, good to hear that as well. Hacks and scams, paying hackers a bounty to return stolen funds is better than losing everything. It has some like feeding the hackers is like a debatable point for sure. Rug pulls are kind of scammed with non-existing crypto. Crypto without privacy is no better than a bank account. Okay. And exchange bans have failed to kill privacy coins. So this is kind of the look. I would say like generally like looking good, kind of clear, short claims. So so right now these claims do have a tag featured, and they seemed well optimized for the debates. So these would be the ones that we could kind of work with for the debates app and kind of making sure like so there's also another thing is so anyone can take a position on a claim. So like if you like the claim, you'll be able to just go in and set a position where you support or disagree with the claim. But aside from that, you will be also able to upvote and downvote. So and the claims that we have the most people actually participating for, those we would want to kind of highlight more. And I think like actually like a good claim can also help to form a community. It's not just around the topic. Like I would argue that even a claim can form tighter communities than topics sometimes, because you already have like a very clear agreement on something. If a claim is large enough, like I would like to meet people and with who like agree on some of my most important claims that I hold, right? So in the health, so here I maybe would give a quick like feedback. So we have a bunch of like these sort of specific claims, right? Like aspartame should be banned, high fructose corn syrup is like more harmful, like red 40 should be banned. So I think this is good. Like these are kind of clear, like specific claims. But we should always want to start from a higher level claims. So first, like the position is, should food be like should a non-poisonous things in food be banned at all, right? And is European or United States model better than regulating food ingredients? Like those are kind of higher level. And if first I would hold a position that maybe like overall like the United States should be banning more ingredients, and then if that's so, like those kind of are supporting arguments is like what kind of specific things should be banned. Yeah, and like these like really went well. Like these, like as we were testing the debates, like AI chatbots increase emotional dependence. AI chatbots should be required to detect and escalate self-harm risks. Like a lot of people have a lot of positions around these. U.S. politics, like so, like, probably some of the most debate-rich sort of space usually. And Trump tariffs strengthening the U.S. economy. Trump expansion of presidential power is unjustified. Voter ID should be required nationwide, so that's a big one right now. Gender policy, gender affirming care for minors should be banned. That's a big one, and it's impossible to change one's gender. Transgender people should be allowed to serve openly in the military. So I would say this actually does capture the sentiment of what's happening in the US politics and what kind of positions are there. So I can see people starting to flop around these and start arguing. So maybe this is a good review for now. And so if you'll have any feedback or ideas from the team, please share it with us. We'll continue expanding towards this direction. And the next step for us is kind of to just agree whether the style here is good and start expanding onto the claims here and start trying to find the curators who do want to support or oppose some of these claims.
Nice. Well done, team. It's looking really good. I love it. Yeah, seeing things well curated and organized makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of one of the final stages of the Geo experience. Is like there is literally millions of like different data points every day that's like flying through the internet. And what you see in one front page of the topic that you care about is where it's like that is what it's all about. So curating that, and that's not that simple. It's not about just understanding what's important. It's about having the taste of understanding how it's formatted and at what level, after how many clicks do you see that. So there's a lot of things going into it, and like I'm really loving seeing the editors like starting to like really grasp that concept here.
Awesome. It would be interesting to see a masterclass on editing at some point when we catch our wave here. Okay, that's it in terms of our agenda. So any final words, Yaniv, before we close?
No, I think we did great work today. So super excited to see us continue to focus on organizing context and fact checking for the top claims and start getting into some debating. So please share feedback about the experience. We're going to be doing some, iterations this week. I'm really excited we have the new infrastructure up and running, and excited to work with everyone on getting things polished for a wider release. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today, and have a really great week. And we'll see you all online. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great week.